Live.
Hope everything is alright. Hope everything is alright. Do you have another opinion? That's my live lead in today.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
All right.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Bill Has Opinions. We are working with a variety of technical challenges, and as you can see, we are outdoors. So,
Backyard.
welcome, everyone. So, I have to actually go through my script because I wrote it down. Welcome to Bill Has Opinions, the most Gen X show you're listening to right now. I'm Laura Lavoie, and I'm joined, as always, by Bill Perkins, who has opinions. So, Bill, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite all right today because I took the day off to take care of a chore and then also to get over here early and do this. By the way, we're in the same backyard, just so everybody can see.
Wait, no, you can't see me. No.
Did I not?
Oh, there I am.
There she
Hi.
is.
I'm
We're
over
social
here.
distancing.
We're also distancing so our microphones don't pick each other up.
Right. Conflict distancing.
Exactly. And our apologies if they do from time to time because it may still happen. So as you can see, we're in a change of scenery. We are outside. We're actually out. This is a very strange situation because we are both in Asheville, but we are outside in the backyard of a house that's about 5 houses away from my actual house that I own in Asheville. But I am renting this little house here for the summer. So
we should have just let them think we were squatting.
That's true. I was on another podcast on Sunday, and I was at a friend's house, and the show was over, and I'm like, "Hey guys, I gotta go because I'm in someone else's house and they're home now." And they were like, "What?" Like, no, they know I'm here. It's totally okay. All right, Bill, what are you drinking?
Oh, well, I'm starting right now with a Dogfish Head Sea Quench, which is a lime salty goza, I think, right? Kind of. Is it a goza? Or just a sour? I don't know. Anyway, I got it because it says sea in it, and we're doing our show today about the outdoors. And so I tried to pick beers that had a theme because I specifically had time to go to the not the bottle store, but the grocery store, and I picked out beers. Sometimes I just grab whatever's there because I'm at the Purple Onion and I'm at the mercy of what's on tap. But today, I also got a Saranac Sun Chaser Ale. Sun Chaser. I don't know. That sounded, well, there's a picture of a dog, so I thought it was related. And I've got a Sweetwater Guide beer, which says it's a lager for the great outdoors.
So legit outdoors.
Yeah.
I have, because you brought some wonderful beers. Wait, where's my camera? There I am. I have the Highland Brewing Wanderlush. So that's specifically seasonal. You can see all like the pictures are all very outdoorsy.
It has a canoe.
It does have a canoe on it. And for my second beer, which I will crack open later, I can never find my camera. I have the Scamper IPA, so a little outdoor, a little camping situation going on there. So, in case you didn't know, friends and family watching, our theme for today is the great outdoors because we figured we are outside recording this fantastic show coming at you live from a backyard in Nashville, a random backyard in Nashville. So we're going to talk about being outside and outside things and stuff. So what do you have to say about the outdoors, Bill?
I got mixed feelings. So I'm what am I trying to say? My ethnicity is largely Scotch-Irish, so I have a conflict. Like, it's not that I don't like the outdoors, but the outdoors don't seem to like me. I scald easily, and ergo, I don't like to go outside except for certain times of the day, early morning and late evening, especially in the summertime. So that's a thing. But I do like the outdoors. I don't. It's funny. My wife loves the lake, and she can be at the lake. And when she goes to like a lake house or the beach, she wants to be out there like 24/7. Like, let's just go sit out there. And I'm like, She's kind of got like this Mediterranean complexion a little bit, and she can take it, and I can't. And I'm like, no, not for me. Thank you. So, I'm like, yeah, like if somebody asks me, do you want to go boating or something like that, like it has to be after 6 o'clock in the evening. And I'll say, yeah, even like, so here's the thing I do love. I love convertibles, right? Like I own a convertible. I've had a convertible for years now of some time or another. I had a Miata and I've got a Mini Cooper and I'm going to get another Miata after I get rid of that stupid Mini Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
And I love driving in the convertible, but the convertible is kind of in the South. It's kind of a two-season car, really. In the summertime, you don't really drive around with the top down, and if you do, it's only in the evenings, really, because if I take the top down on a hot summer day, I mean, 15 minutes later, I'm like, put that thing back up. I can't deal with it. I'm just dying. I'm already bright red, and so that's my troubled history with the outdoors. But that being aside, I do love it. Like I love hiking is like one of my things. You can't live in Asheville or the Asheville area and not like if you don't hike, get the fuck out of here. Like people, I don't know. Like I don't know. It's kind of like if you move to Asheville and you're I don't like you've had previous substance abuse problems. This is not the town for you, maybe like because
Well,
every
yeah.
kind of socializing here involves substances. You're gonna be around drinkers. So unless you're the kind of person who can be like, I'm sober and I can still hang out at a brewery around drinkers, it's just a bad scene. And so also if you're not into hiking, don't move to Asheville. I guess like you're in the middle of the like the Blue Ridge Parkway runs through town. You gotta like hiking. It's just a thing. It's like mandatory. I'll tell you something. The people in this town are so crazy for the outdoors. We've got this river that goes through town. It's essentially sewage for the most part, right? It's like raw sewage floating down a river. And every weekend, there are 100 inner tubes and pool floats and God knows what all, just random things tied together going down that river with people in them. Because people don't care. They
Yeah,
just want to be outside. People love outside here.
that's
So,
true.
yeah, so you don't move to this area and not want to be outside, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I moved here, I don't know, 2008, 9, somewhere around there. I can't remember. It's been a bit. Anyway, yeah, you love it. You spend the entire, yeah. As soon as I moved here, I started going to the Parkway like every weekend. Sometimes right after work in the summertime. When it's gonna be light for another 3 or 4 hours. I mean, shit. The entrance to the Parkway was like less than a mile from the place I used to work when I first moved here. So I'd get off of work and I'd just get in the car and whoosh, I was right on the Parkway and I'd drive up the Parkway and go find some place and get out and hike. And I love that kind of stuff. I love hiking. So aside from sunburn and being out in the middle of the day, though, the only thing I don't like about outdoors, I don't like camping. I'm not a big camper.
Well, we'll get into that in more detail soon
All right.
because
Yeah.
I've got a whole bunch of questions about camping.
Okay. Very good.
But it is so, it's funny you mention because I have a similar love-hate relationship with the outdoors, and specifically in relation to the fact that I am very, very pale. I am ethnically Canadian and Polish. Neither are the Canadians are known for being outdoors, but pretty much in the winter because there isn't a summer in Canada. Newsflash, there really is one. And I'm pretty sure the Polish aren't really known for their rugged outdoorsness. So I burn very easily. So if I'm out in the sun for more than like a minute and a half, I need to have all the sunscreen because it will just go poorly. And then it doesn't even matter. Like I could put it on once. If I'm still out in the sun 4 hours later, I'm still sunburned. I have to put it on again. So it's no bueno. But what I will say is that, like you, my wonderful partner, Matt, is Greek and Italian. So his form of sunburn is to be olive skin and then darker olive skin because he can just be in the sun forever and is perfectly fine. So he likes the outdoors a lot more than I do. And I'll say I don't hate hiking, but it's not my preferred method of outdoor recreation. I will hike only when it's short, as long as it's not like a long distance or very strenuous. Like it's a nice walk in the woods. I'll do a walk in the woods.
Okay, well, so I do need to clarify because there are people who think hiking is like hiking the Appalachian Trail. Like we're going to be gone for 4 days and we're going to camp every night and we're going to walk like 28 miles, and that's not how I hike. I don't do that. I park. I find a place on the parkway and I park, and I go for an hour and a 2 hour walk in the woods. That's what I do. Yeah, I could walk
Yeah.
longer, but I mean, I like to walk. Walking doesn't bother me at all. I've always been a big walker since even like when I was a kid. If I go to the beach, I would, I would,
I
uh,
would,
I would be the person who would like go out on the beach and look down the beach and be like, "There's a pier 2 miles that way. I'm just gonna walk to it and back," and I'll do that,
right.
and I don't think twice about that kind of thing. So walking doesn't bother me, or even for long jaunts. And when I lived in Chicago, I used to do this. Sometimes I would decide I wasn't taking the L somewhere. Like I go visit a friend. I had a friend who lived up in Wrigleyville, and my school was in the Loop. For people who don't know, the Loop is the main part of Chicago, like downtown Chicago, and Wrigleyville, of course, is I think it's about 3 miles north of there. That's where Wrigley Field is, and the neighborhood around
Right.
Wrigley Field. And so I would like get out of school on Friday night, and I'd be like, I don't feel like taking the bus or the L or anything. I'm just gonna walk. Maybe I'll walk by, my friend Phil's house or something, and see if he's home and what he's doing tonight or something like that. And Phil lived in Wrigleyville, so I'd walk up there. Actually, Phil technically lived in the Gold Coast, which was like right around the corner from Cabrini Green, which used to be a notorious housing project. It's actually where Good Times took place.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but Cabrini Green, weirdly enough, was in the middle of something called the Gold Coast, which was actually a very well-to-do neighborhood because it was the neighborhood just kind of north of the Loop, like just across the river from the Loop. And so they finally realized this and tore Cabrini Green down because they were like, we don't need to have a ghetto in the middle of this choice real estate. Um, so
Yeah,
I don't. That's a whole other thing.
yeah.
We'll do an episode on
That's
gentrification.
gentrification at its finest, right?
Because Chicago invented gentrification. We'll talk about that one other day when we do our episode on gentrification. But
Well,
the point is, I would walk to. So one time, I walked up there to the Gold Coast, and Phil wasn't home, and I was like, fuck it, I'll go see my other friend who lived in Wrigleyville, and I just kept walking. I just kept walking and kept walking, and I finally, once I got to Wrigleyville, then I was like, fuck it, I might as well just walk home. And I lived in Andersonville, which was probably another mile north of Wrigleyville. And so yeah, it was just so it's like a 5 mile walk. I would just do that, and I wouldn't think twice about it because I like to walk. So there you go.
I will say that I prefer urban walking more than I prefer like hiking. Like if I'm in a city, I'm more than happy to walk around all day long as long as I know where, like, I know my destination. Like if I'm just walking around aimlessly, then I'm like, why am I still walking? That's annoying. But in fact, Matt likes to tell the story of the reason he knew that I loved Cardiff, Wales as much as I did when we were visiting Cardiff was we got super hella lost, like ridiculously lost. And we overshot where we needed to go by a significant amount. But I did not complain the entire time because I was loving it. I loved the city. I loved everything about it. So I didn't complain. So that's how he knew I actually liked where we were. It was because I didn't complain that I was tired of walking and wanted to go to the bar and have a beer. But eventually we did. So I also, being outdoors for me needs to involve a fair amount of drinking.
Right. I can totally get behind that. I mean, it doesn't have to. Like, I'll have a beer at some point in the day. Like, usually, I'll say this even when I go on the parkway and I go for a hike. I usually do that about like right after lunchtime. Like let's say it's like 1:30. We'll go to the parkway. We'll go hiking or whatever, and then we'll be back in town by 5. And it's like we're gonna go hit a bar, have some fish and chips, and some beer.
Exactly. No, fish and chips are great after a post-hike meal. I agree.
It is a great post-hike meal, and you can get that in Cardiff probably too.
You can. I know you can. Yes, you absolutely can. In fact, I had fish and chips in Cardiff after walking all around the city. And that's not hyperbole. That's not a joke. It's true. Which is another story. That was a story for the travel episode or vacation episode or whatever, but I like it. All right. So we are at 5:15. We should probably cover our station break.
Oh, yeah.
When we do that, wait, I have a thing that I've been dying to do with the station break every time, and I never have. Oh, I don't have our banner going. Oh, wait, there we are. All right, now I'll do that. I know, right? I forgot that part. But while we do the station break, let me put this up here. Hey, we'll be right back. So, I do have a product to shill for this week. On Facebook, I encourage our viewers to visit Colors of Kindness. My sister started an art, selling art. She does stationery with positive messages, and they're really cute and adorable. So check out Colors of Kindness on Facebook when you have a chance. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right.
That's as exciting as that got. All right, let me go back to my comments.
I'm sorry.
Although,
so could you give us an example of at least one cute saying?
Yes.
Or okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, she has a lot because her main thing is kindness. Like, she has a whole set of that have cute little watercolor bees and have little set things like be kind. Or, kindness,
okay. Be kind with 2 E's, right?
Be kind with 2 E's, yeah. They're very adorable and they're very pretty, and they're all like pretty watercolors with nice uplifting messages like be joyful, things like that.
Okay. That's cool. I like to think it's a good news bee.
So let's talk about outdoors. Good news bees are literally my favorite. I know everything is my favorite because I like to like things, but I didn't know what.
She's the exact opposite. Like, it's funny that we're friends because, like, I like to hate on things and Laura likes to like things.
I like to like things. I think that's what makes this work. But I didn't know what a good news bee was. Like, they aren't in Michigan. They aren't in Georgia, for that matter. Like, or at least in Atlanta. Like, they're in the mountains of Georgia, but I never encountered one.
Okay.
And I had no clue what they were. And so, speaking of outdoors, Matt and I have a tiny house in the mountains of North Carolina, just north of Asheville, that we built ourselves. So that was kind of my lifetime of outdoor activity, was building a house by hand. But that's where I found out what a good news bee was, because they would come and they would hover, and I learned that they weren't bees at all. They're actually this little fly, and they're just the cutest damn things. And they will just hover at you and hang out and like land on you. And they look like yellow jackets. They like mimic yellow jackets to, stop predators from eating them. And they're so adorable and they're so sweet. And I love them.
And why are they called good news bees?
Well, they're actually called yellow jacket hoverflies, but that's not as fun. But I believe it's a Southernism, right? That if they hover around you, they're spreading the good news. And I'm sure in one sense that's some sort of religious stuff.
They're like, have you heard the good news? John 3:16.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. They're somehow Christian bees, but I think they can be good news of any sort. Like, hi, the weather's nice today. Things are delightful. I'm a happy bee.
Sort of like mythology that when they appeared to you, it's kind of like they had like good news for you personally, like they were a good omen or something, right?
No, it's way more southern, way more Christian than that.
Ah, okay. I thought it was kind of like that when the owl calls your name, kind of, mythology.
Right. Well, I wish it were. And for a little while, I had this dream. So when you go to like a lot of parks that have like the butterfly houses, where they hatch the butterflies, and you can go into the little greenhouse and there are all the butterflies and they land on you and it's really cute. I desperately wanted to start a good news bee house. But then I'm like, wait a second, they're flies. So I'd be like just growing giant maggots. And it stopped being as romantic as I thought it was going to be when I had this idea of having a good news bee house. Plus, I think good news bees are fairly solitary. Like, I've never seen more than one at a time. So I don't know that it would go well if I had a house full of good news bees.
Sure, yeah. Maybe the good news is I'm away from all those other good news bees.
Yeah, it does seem to be their thing. All right.
They're misanthropes.
So So you started to talk about camping. And you said
I
you do
did.
not enjoy camping. So I think we need to dig deeper into that. So
Okay.
tell me about camping, your thoughts, your opinions as it were.
Well, so my beef against camping is just it's uncomfortable. Um, I will do it, but I don't like it because like here's the thing: if is there a hotel within an hour of here? That's what I ask myself. Because if there is, I'm gonna go sleep in a bed tonight. Okay, there's no reason for me to sleep on the ground. Here's the thing: camping. I guess back in the day, it seemed like a good idea. It used to be cheap when I was a kid. Like you go camping and it cost you like $15 to rent a campsite, where it was like $60 to rent a hotel room. But now it's like $48 to rent a campsite and $60 to rent a hotel room. And I'm like, well, shit, for the extra $15, I'd rather sleep in a bed. Like there's no savings there. I don't get it. Like in those damn inflatable mattresses, they're good for about 3 hours, and then you wake up and you're on the hard ground. And I don't know, man. I'm just too damn old for that bullshit. Like if it was like okay, glamping I could get behind probably. I've never done it. I know you
That is
have.
where I was going to go, yes, because I don't
Yes.
camp either. Like, I'm not packing in a backpack, bullshit, none of that. I am, like, the group that I have glamped with, we have brought an air conditioner. Like, that's how we do it. And
Yeah.
what we're doing, it's not, like, hard camping at all. It's festival camping. So,
Sure.
literally, you put up your tent. Your tent is strictly your shelter. And, we'll have, like, a social space where we will host cocktail hours. So again, that drinking component is very important. And so yeah, it's not.
I
There's
can get
nothing.
behind. I can get behind this. It's like Tom Haverford, like DJ Roomba. Like that's the kind of camping I'm talking about. Like I'm not. That's fine. If I've got an actual bed to sleep on or whatever, I'm okay. But I'm not. I'm done with sleeping on the ground. I'm too damn old for that shit. I make enough money. There's no reason for me to sleep on the ground. Like that's for people who can't do better. And I'm not trying to talk down to those people. That's great. If you love it, fine, whatever. Bully on you. I don't want it. It's not for me. So I don't like camping. My wife hints at every now and again, like us getting like a one of those pull behinds, like a teardrop. Um, I could probably do that, be okay. The only reason I'm against it is like it's something that's gonna take up a corner of the yard for the rest of the year, and I'm like,
Sure.
yeah, I don't need that shit sitting in my yard. That's my beef with it is I don't know what we're gonna do with it. I feel like we're not gonna use it as much as we think we will, and it's just gonna be a waste of money. But
That,
I guess
that is
I can see it.
that is one of our next plans is to maybe not the pull behind teardrop trailer, although I do that too. But we've definitely talked about converting a transit van to be a camper,
Oh yeah,
and we would use it. Yeah, I mean, because that's the kind of thing you can use for anything, like
right.
road trips. Like if you don't want to if you're going on a road trip that's going to be 15 hours, you
Sure.
don't have to do it 15 hours straight. If you've got somewhere to be without renting a hotel, and taking 7 days,
Right.
you can just pull over, take a nap, watch some TV, and then keep going. I'm all about that.
Yeah, we actually even looked into because we went to the Tiny House Festival in Kinston, North Carolina, with you guys, and one of the people there who impressed us the most had they had a box truck they converted into
Yes.
a camper. It was like an
I
old.
know that guy, and I can't remember his name, which makes me feel really bad. But I know who
But
he is.
it was a used U-Haul. I want to say maybe U-Haul Ryder truck, something like that.
With the grandma's attic. So like when you move, like we talked about moving before, a lot of moving trucks have that grandma's attic, like
Yeah.
space over the cab. And it had one of those that he converted that into a bunk, and all the living space was under it.
Right. So it was really neat. We actually thought about that for a while. And you do, if you look on Craigslist every now and again, you'll see a nice box truck for sale. We've thought about that too. We've looked into it for a minute or two, but it's just kind of pipe dream. Maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. I don't know. We've got a whole we got a home renovation project going on right now, so that's taking all my damn time. So
That's the extent for now. Yeah,
yeah,
I hear
I
you.
don't overextend myself.
I hear you. So, all right. So, camping aside as an outdoor activity, and obviously there's a lot of other outdoor activities. Like the other day in this very backyard, we played bocce ball with some friends because we all wanted to be outside, but the risk of COVID-19 in largely populated places made us want to stay in our own fucking backyard because I did not want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
We played bocce ball. I like bocce ball. I like, other outdoor activities that you can do, lawn bowling, which is essentially bocce ball.
The thing with the beanbag, cornhole, yeah.
Oh, cornhole, yeah, that's a thing.
That's a drinking game anyway, right? Like that
Yeah.
definitely involves drink.
Yes.
Nobody plays cornhole sober.
No, it's funny.
Even the kids have a beer before that one.
The opinions are of Bill Perkins, and not the. Yes, do not feed your children alcohol. But also, so it's funny in Michigan, or at least when I was growing up, cornhole wasn't a thing.
No, it's a fairly new invention. Like it only showed up in the last 20 years or so, really.
Yeah, but I remember someone we knew invented when I was a kid a version of horseshoes or jarts that didn't involve large, heavy or pointy objects to kill you. And I believe they called it horse holes, but it was essentially cornhole. And I'm not sure if they just didn't know that was a thing or if they were pioneers in the cornhole experience. But horse holes, that was a thing that I knew about when I was a kid.
So you got variations. You got your horseshoes, you got cornhole, you got the one with the washers, the little washers that you throw.
Oh yeah, on the hook?
No, not the one on the string. I'm talking about. I've actually seen like some bars. There's a bar up in over in Swananoa. I can't remember the name of the damn bar, but I've been to this one place that they just have washers and you throw them at it's exactly horseshoes except for with washers instead.
All right. They just were too cheap to buy actual horseshoes?
Yeah, like washers are like what, 63 cents? Like let's get a bunch of those. If we lose them, what are we out? 63 cents.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hold on. There's another. I want to say there's another damn thing like that, but now I can't remember it. But another bar game like that, that's the same thing. It's just throwing shit back and forth.
Yeah, which is kind of a
the one with the balls and there's like a little rack. It's like a wooden rack with like.
Oh yeah, ladder ball.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, we had a ladder ball set once. Actually, we still have it at the tiny house, but we had a Detroit Lions branded ladder ball set. So
I think it's a law actually that you can't buy a cornhole set that doesn't have a collegiate team on it or something.
That's true. That's true. Unless somebody like the handmade ones all have their own things. Like you go to a brewery in town and they have their own branded version.
But if you buy one off the internet, like if you were to buy a cornhole set, it has to come with like an SEC or ACC team on it. It's a law. I don't know what people from Michigan do because there's no Big Ten teams on a cornhole set.
So, not here, but I haven't lived in Michigan since the very early 2000s. So
are you guys Big Ten? I don't even know what conference you're in. I'm just talking.
Big Ten.
Okay. I was like,
we used to be. I don't know. I lost track of it too, but I'm pretty sure we're Big Ten.
There's only two conferences that matter, and they're the SEC and the ACC.
Also, that's Bill has opinions, and they are not the opinions of everybody on the show. But
and there's a tier, and it's SEC and then ACC.
So maybe our two viewers who are both born and raised in Michigan, and one of which who lives in Michigan, can shed a light. But I'm pretty sure we're still Big Ten. I think that's the thing. At least University of Michigan. I think at least maybe Michigan State. I don't know. I went to Western Michigan University, go Broncos, and so they are rarely on the radar, except a few years ago they won the national champion and it was huge. They went to a bowl, and then suddenly everyone knew who they were. But then, like a week later, nobody knew who they were again. So it didn't matter.
They were like, "You remember that?" No,
no, don't remember that at all. Go Broncos! All right. So here's a question for you. When you're contending with the outdoors, so here's one of my big problems when I'm outdoors, which is why I will often aim for an indoor activity, is because the outdoors, like whether you ascribe it to the pagan gods or whatever, weather is a fickle thing. Like you can't know. We could be sitting out here right now, and it could start raining in 2 seconds. We literally have no clue.
Oh my God, yes. So in the mountains, that's even a bigger thing because, like, when I mentioned I have convertibles, and when I lived in town here, I could leave work, and there was a range of mountains between my work and my house, which was 10 minutes away, by the way, and I could leave work, and it could be perfectly bright and sunny, and I'd be like, okay, great, I'm gonna put the top down, and I drive, and I turn the around like there's one point when I hit near the UNC Asheville, I would go around this curve, and all of a sudden, like, the sky would turn gray, and I'd be like, oh shit, and I'd have to stop on the side of the road and put the top back up on the convertible because I was going to get poured on in a minute. So when you live in the mountains, like weather's really weird. Like, it can be doing something 10 minutes away that's completely different than what it's doing here. But yeah, weather's a crazy thing. But also, we mentioned previously about the sunburn. Both of us suffer from that. You also, before we started this show, Laura sprayed herself with bug spray. I did not.
Do you need it? I can throw it at you.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Actually, the bugs are. I've been bit maybe once, but I'm okay mostly. So here's the thing. I hate being greasy. I hate being greasy, and bug spray and sunscreen are both greasy, and it's the worst feeling on earth to me. Like, I'd rather get burnt or bit than be greasy.
I hear you.
I'd rather suffer the consequences than be covered in grease.
See, I've taken the opposite approach because I've been burned. No, that's literal. It's not even a pun intended. I have been burned too many times. So I've just learned to deal with it. But I do, so I use, like, I don't use the, like, rub-on stuff anymore. I do the spray.
Yeah.
But depending on and there are certain brands I'm loyal to because they're better than others as far as, like, dry touch and stuff. But some of them you spray on it and I literally feel like a glazed donut. Like, I am the Krispy Kreme donut that has gone through the little glazing spreader thing because I just feel like I've been glazed. And I can deal, so bug spray I can deal with. It tends to be, depending on the brand, but like Deep Woods Off, which is what I'm using right now to prevent fleas, ticks, and mosquitoes, like I'm a dog, but is fairly dry touch. The worst is like that chemical smell, and I know why people use the hippie bug sprays. They just don't work for me. Like, I can put on eucalyptus till the cows come home, and the bugs are like, "Hi, I like you. I'm gonna eat you now."
Bugs are like, "What is this bullshit? Like, you're into this earthy shit, huh? Okay, well, whatever. I'm gonna bite the hell out of you."
Yeah, because you're delicious, and I'm contaminated, and I'm gonna do that. Like, there's no way. The other thing that also I deal with a lot. Bugs are bad enough. Sunburn is bad enough, but I'm also ridiculously allergic to poison ivy. And like, I have spotted it in this backyard. I can tell you where it is because
I could probably find it. There's some right there.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, absolutely. But I can just be near poison ivy. I can look at poison ivy, and next thing you know, I will have a poison ivy rash.
Well, it's right over there, so don't look at it. Avoid your eyes.
I will try to avoid it. There's some behind you too. I know because my cat was sitting in it the other day because we had her out on the leash, and then I'm like, oh shit. Well,
I'm not gonna pet the cat and get poison ivy now.
Well, she can't. Like, she won't have a reaction to it, but she could give it to me.
Sure, yeah. That's what
and
happens.
she rubs on me afterwards.
I've actually heard of people who own goats. The goats can eat poison ivy, but then they'll come up and lick you in the face and give you poison ivy all over your face. Because
yeah. The first time I ever had poison ivy, I didn't know what it was. It wasn't really a thing where I grew up in Michigan. I know you can get it in Michigan, but where I grew up in the woods, there it just wasn't a thing. But the first time I ever got it was right after we moved to Georgia, and there was an outdoor cat. Our neighbors had an outdoor cat who would go into the woods behind our apartments, and she was very friendly. And she would come when I come home from work. She would rub up against my legs and be really super friendly. And all of a sudden, after a week or so, I got this weird rash on my legs, and I did not put two and two together. I had no idea what was wrong with me. My mother-in-law, God rest her soul, thought I had scabies. I don't know why that was. I don't know why that was her first instinct.
It was going around in her age group. It was a thing they were concerned about.
I guess, but I'm like, I don't think this is scabies. And then I went to the doctor, and they're like, "Oh, that's very much poison ivy." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, okay then."
Yeah. So hey, while we're talking about plants, I want to mention two things. One, I'm also noticing, because we're talking about poison plants, that you've got a plant here in your rented backyard. There's a plant right over there called pokeweed, which some people eat like collards, but it is poisonous unless you cook it, which is one of the weirdest things on earth to me. That tapioca, there's a couple of things like that that are like they're poisonous until you cook them.
Yeah, like blowfish or whatever.
Yeah, like I'm like, okay, so this is the funny thing to me, like to think about the evolution of that process. Like,
Right? How'd they figure that shit out?
right, like some caveman was like, Og die from this, but Og go on and on about it before Og die. Maybe we cook.
How'd that happen? I love it. Well, I've wondered that about, like, that's the evolution of how we eat food has always baffled me. Like, who was like, hey, an egg, that'll be delicious.
Right?
Also, let's cook it a variety of ways. Like, let's just put it over the fire. Let's boil it. Let's just crack it open in the water. Like, how did people figure that shit out? I have no idea.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, people are crazy. The Homo sapien species is nuts, and if you haven't learned that in the last 6 months, just from observing human behavior. I mean, but it always fascinates me, shit like that. Like I said, the idea that there are foods that are poisonous until you prepare them a certain way. I'm like, I don't blame the first person who ate it and died, but the second person who went, maybe, like, kudos to that guy. Like, I don't understand, but wow, like this person was so enthralled with the idea of, like, seriously, like the other person who died must have really been like, this is to die for, and then he died. And then he was like, shit, man, I really want to eat that, but I don't know, like,
All right. We've gotten way off topic here, although we could probably do like the history of mankind at some point.
Sure.
Can we do that? I was an anthropology major.
So this is related to the outdoors, but when I go hiking, if I pass like wild blueberries or blackberries or any shit like that, I usually stop and I pick a few, just
Sure.
because it's fucking free food. So I feel like I'm getting one over on the universe, right?
Right.
So when my kid was really young, when he was like between 5 and 7, and he would see me stop and pick berries, he'd be like, "Oh my god, Dad, stop! Oh my god!" He just, I guess maybe his mother had taught him, like, don't eat random berries because they'll kill you. and I couldn't impress upon him that I know what the fuck I'm eating. Like, I'm not just picking random berries. I'm picking a berry that I recognize, and I know it's edible. Like, you won't see me pick every berry we pass. You're only going to see me pick these 3. So anyway, it's a thing I would do. And then after that, after I realized I got a rise out of him, I probably did a lot more. Because it's not, I don't even give a shit. Like, I don't like blueberries, but I do like getting free stuff. So
So I'll tell you, our land, our mountain has an ass load of blackberries, raspberries, whatever those kind of berries are. Like an ass load of them.
Yeah.
So come on up, pick all the berries you want whenever you want to.
We've actually got wild blueberries. We've got a few blackberries, although I've been picking the blackberry bushes because I don't want them. Like, my last house had tons of blackberries, but they'll take over your yard if you let them. So I'm like, nah, I don't want them. I don't need blackberries. I can drive up the road if I want blackberries. They'll be in the ditch, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, I should say that our land is relatively raw. Like, it's just a mountain with a barn and a tiny house we built on it. So it's not a yard, and I'm totally fine with the blackberries just taking over. I'd rather the blackberries take over than the poison ivy.
Yeah, they're preferable to poison ivy. I mean, they'll give you the stickers will get you, and you might get chiggers if that's I don't know if that is that a thing in the mountains. Like, where I grew up, if you pick blackberries in South Carolina, like, you pick blackberries, and 2 days later, you'd have what they call chiggers, but they're not. They're like these little red mites that would bury themselves in your skin, especially around your knees and your crotch, and they would itch to high heaven. They were the worst.
Right.
That's
I remember people talking about chiggers when I was growing up in Michigan, and I I remember the little red bugs, and I remember people talk about chiggers, but I'm not sure the two things were actually related. Like, there were also other little red bugs that people are like, stay away from that, but I don't think that was the problem.
Yeah, technically, chiggers and red bugs are two different things, but Southerners, when they say chiggers, they mean red bugs,
Mm-hmm.
which are a type of mite which buries itself in. I think chiggers are also a type of mite, but they don't exist in this area. But again, Southerners have a tendency, like how they say possum when they mean opossum.
Right.
You know, it's a possum is a thing that lives in Australia, and an opossum lives in these parts. But let's be honest, you're gonna punch anybody in the face who says opossum, like tries to correct your ass. You're gonna be like, well, la dee da. Look at Mr. Fancy Pants over here with the opossum.
So let me tell you a quick story. So as you know, as we already established, that I like glamping. Like, and when I glamp, it's at a festival. So, you know, we're not roughing it in any way, shape, or form. You know, we've got our tent is actually bigger than our tiny house. It's like 12 by 16 or something. It's enormous. And then we've got like the cot with the air mattress on top of it. But a few years ago, we were camping in Minnesota. We had driven all the way up to Minnesota from North Carolina, which is a long drive, mind you. But we were camping in Minnesota, and we had a bunch of friends from all over the country that came to this festival as well, including a friend from Hawaii who had never been to the mainland. She's Native Hawaiian, born and raised in Hawaii, never been to the continental United States in her life. And her first choice was fucking Minnesota. So,
What's different than Hawaii?
It's a lot different than Hawaii. She's like, I didn't realize how it wasn't sea level. She's like, I don't know what not sea level means. But she decided to get this tent that she bought. It was a huge tent, but it was technically a canopy. Like, it wasn't a tent. There was no floor. So, and she's like, and I'm like, that'd be great in Hawaii, but you're in Minnesota right now. So it was nice. She had a hammock for her bed. It was great. It was beautiful. But as we learned, we were camping in an oak grove, some type of very specific oak grove that apparently is infested with a certain type of oak mite. And everybody else was fine. But after she got back to Hawaii, she had a hell of some sort of rash that she had no idea where it came from. And it turned out they were these oak mites, because she was the only person who didn't have like a floor to her tent. So she was just out in the elements sleeping, which again, fine in Hawaii, not so fine in Minnesota.
I mean, maybe. I mean, you don't know what shit bites you in Hawaii because you know
Well,
you don't
sure.
you haven't slept on the ground there yet.
Not oak mites, I can tell you that. You definitely won't get oak mites.
No, it's probably some. Yeah, it's probably some kind of crazy tropical, you know, like something that's quaint and fun because it's in the tropics, right?
right. But I will also tell you that the very first night when she set up that tent, it stormed. It stormed. It was awful. And I remember waking. There is nothing that will make a ragtag group of people into a family faster than a natural disaster. I just said disaster, like I'm from Minnesota. Like a natural disaster. So, like, things were blowing. I mean, in her tent, because it wasn't all that nailed down because of what it was literally being torn up by the wind in this rainstorm. And we all get out of our tents in the middle of the night, hold it down in the rain, and we saved it. But the next day, to anchor it better, we moved it between two oak trees to tie it to the oak trees. And that's apparently what created the further disaster.
You just baited her. You just made her bait for the oak mites.
We didn't mean to. Like, that wasn't our intention. But she's also not friends with most of the people that were at the camping trip anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in all fairness to her, I mean, she did buy what sounds to me like one of those vendor canopies to camp in.
That's precisely what it was. It had walls, but it's still precisely what it was.
It was just one of those things you put like when you're tailgating at a I don't know some, like in a NASCAR race or something dumb like that.
No, yeah, it was not far from it. But yeah, I mean, it's just what happens. But that was not my last camping trip. I actually camped with those guys many, many, many times after that. Lamika never came back because she's like, oh no, that was
I
awful.
had my experience. Now I'm done.
Yeah, she's good. This is unrelated to outdoors, but it also amused me because she brought some things like family heirlooms to decorate the campsite. And her father was really worried. They're Native Hawaiian. Her father was really, really worried that she wouldn't come home with these family heirlooms because the white people were going to steal them, which I just thought was literally the most accurate thing anyone's ever said.
I was about to say, I'm like, wait, you objected to this? Because it's totally
No.
what we do. It's how we do.
That's what we did to Hawaii, and so yeah, the white people. We assured her we
would take that shit if she showed up with a really nice, tiki idol or some shit. Yeah, I could totally see people like absconding with it. I'm not saying I would do it. I would covet it, but I wouldn't take it. But,
all right. Fair enough. Yeah, no, and I didn't either. I was not going to do that. All right, so we're running out of time, and I could literally talk forever on the outdoors. So I do have, I guess this is a 3-part rapid fire question.
Sure.
Because so these are outdoors that are common. Well, all right, let me do this. This might be multiple part. I'm going to just throw some outdoor landscapes at you and see what you have to say. Beach, mountains, desert, woods, lakes. What would you like? What's your ideal outside environment?
So, in spite of my saying I don't like sunburn and I don't like going out on the beach in the middle of the day, I do love the beach, okay? And it's just funny that I actually moved to the mountains when I always suspected, like, I always thought of myself as a beach person. Like, I thought I was going to retire to the beach. And my reason being was I always thought, like, if I lived at, like, even Myrtle Beach, like, and Myrtle Beach is the dumbest fucking tourist attraction bullshit. Like, I mean, the only thing that makes it a beach is the fact that the ocean meets the land, okay?
Right.
But I used to think, here's the thing: if I lived in Myrtle Beach, and even if I was like still working at like 65, 70, whatever the fuck, at the end of the day, you get off work, you're still at the beach, right? Like I was like, you'd still be at the beach, so everything would be peachy. Like that's cool, that's awesome. You can go to the beach or walk on the beach or whatever. I don't disagree with that statement still, but I wound up through chance or circumstance or whatever the fuck, I wound up in the mountains, and I ended up liking the mountains equally as the beach, even though I thought I was a beach person. And for the same reasons, like I was saying earlier in the show, I would get off work and I'd be like, you know what? It's 5:30. It's like 3 hours till sunset. I can still drive up the parkway and go for a hike. So you get off of work, and at the end of the day, you're still in the fucking mountains, right? Like,
yeah,
bam, like it's awesome. So I like beach and mountains equally now, even though I always thought I was a beach person. The desert shit, I guess I could get behind that too. I mean, because it's foreign to me a little bit, because I grew up in South Carolina, and South Carolina has beach on one end and mountains on the other end. Okay,
right.
So that both of those are familiar in a way. Desert is like a foreign country to me, but
it's like the moon.
Yeah, but I'm fascinated by it, and I like the idea of it. I mean, shit, I don't know. I might like that too. What were the other options?
Woods, but I guess in Western North Carolina, woods and mountains are the same thing. But
Yeah,
like in Michigan,
there's woods all over the damn mountains.
Yeah, but like where I grew up in Michigan, we were woods and we were flatland, but it was woods.
Right.
So
yeah.
It was its own thing. It was a different thing.
Woods are okay to a degree. You've got poison ivy and ticks, which are a deterrent to the woods. But I love the woods in the fall when you don't have to worry about either of those fucking things. Like walking around the woods in the fall is like the bomb. Like that's good times. The only thing that's gonna happen to you in the woods in the fall is you might get shot by a hunter who thinks you're a deer or something. So wear bright orange or something.
Right.
What was the other woods?
I think that was about it.
Okay.
Those are all the landscapes I could think of.
Those are all the biomes you knew about. Tundra.
Yeah.
You didn't say tundra.
Prairie.
Prairie. Listen. Okay, so I like the tundra in theory. I remember when I was going to the UK one time, and we flew over Greenland, and I was looking out the plane window at Greenland, and I was like, "Holy shit, that looks awesome!" And I kind of wanted to stop. Like I was like, "Wish we had a layover in Greenland," but I will tell you this: like I know I would be bored with Greenland by the end of the day. Like Greenland would be cool for an afternoon, and then it'd be like, "Fuck, let's get back on the plane and get the fuck out of here because this place ain't got nothing going on."
Although although different, Iceland is on my list of my
Sure, yeah, but Iceland's got like towns and stuff. Like
yeah.
Greenland ain't got like Greenland would be nice to get out, walk around, and be like, "Damn, it's like Hoth. Okay, let's get back on the plane." You know, like that's it, right? Like, and the same any place in the northern part of Canada. Like I'd like it for 5 or 10 minutes. You know, I'd get out and walk around and be like, "Oh, look at me! I'm in the North Pole, haha!" And then I'm like, "All right, fuck it. You know, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. Like, is there a bar? No, there's not. Fuck it." Hey, speaking of outdoors, there's a robin right there. He's bobbing along. He's got a worm in his mouth. Look at him.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see him. I see him. I'm sorry our viewers can't see him, but look at him. He's just chilling.
Sorry, viewers, you have to take my word for it, but there's a robin who just came running through here.
He just flew away.
We're talking about the outdoors. I love flora and fauna. Those are things I like about the outdoors. Whenever I go out for a walk with my son or my wife on our property or anywhere else, honestly, I'm the kind of person who's like really observant. I like to look around, and I'm usually like, "Oh, hey, look, there's a lizard, there's a snake, there's a turtle."
Right.
You know, whereas, and I don't know if that's a learned thing, to like be like, to calm the fuck down and look around yourself, like, and take in what there is.
Yeah, I do it too, though. I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know whether that's just an innate thing or a learned behavior.
Well, I mean, because like my son's finally started to learn it. Like he's actually started to point out the animals to me, which I'm like, "Oh, cool, you finally learned that thing." But you know, when he was young, he was a spaz, and he'd be like, "How do you keep seeing these things?" And I'm like, "I'm not such a goddamn spaz." And like I slow down and enjoy what I'm doing. Anyway, that's the thing I love about the outdoors. I love seeing critters and plants too. And one of the things I will say, when I moved to Western North Carolina, the mountains have completely different plants than what I grew up with.
Yes.
So
we have the most diverse ecosystem in most of North America. Like we have a lot of everything.
Yeah. So where I grew up on the coastal area of South Carolina, and I could probably name every fucking plant. Like we could go for a walk in the woods in eastern South Carolina or eastern North Carolina. It's about the same. I could tell you every plant we passed. I could say, I know what that is. I know what that is. I know what that is. Here, I often find myself saying, I don't know what the fuck that thing is.
But it's cool.
It's cool. I see it all the time, but I don't know what it is. I've actually bought several books, and I've actually got like a laminated fold out thingy, to identify stuff.
Right.
Recently, the other day, so it's been raining like hell at my house. And we've got all kinds of fungus growing around my property. I probably counted like 15, 17 different kinds of mushrooms and toadstools growing on my property. And I don't know much about this. I'm not very confident about it for the most part, but there's 2 kinds of edible mushrooms that I can identify by sight. And one of them is on my property. We have chanterelles, which I think are going for about $35 a pound right now. I've actually seen a big pop of those. I haven't found any morels or morels or however you pronounce that. Which that's one I'm always keeping my eye out for. Those are the only 2 I can actually recognize by sight. There's these other 2 things called chicken of the wood and hen of the wood, but they look like every other fucking mushroom to me. So I'm not fucking with that. Like I'm gonna poison myself. I'm not eating that. But anyway, yeah, I like the idea of foraging. I haven't done it, but I like the idea of it. Like the idea, like I said, free food, right? Like I was talking about, I eat the blueberries when I find them because I know what those are. They won't kill me. I'll eat them.
So there is, and it probably isn't happening right now, but there is in Asheville, and it has been for a long time, a mushroom foraging class that happens like throughout the summer. And one day, maybe we should do that when there's not a pandemic.
We should take that when things settle down. Yeah, I've been meaning I would, because I like to know things. Like it's a thing I I just like to know shit. But that's one of those things where I like really don't. I don't think you can. Most shit you want to know, you can just go on YouTube and be like, show me the shit, right? But I don't feel confident.
Mushrooms. Yeah.
Mushrooms. I want a person to tell me about that shit. Right? Like
no, absolutely. All right. We are getting super close to the end of the show. We've got a few more things that we need to do. So I have an actual mailbag today. Woo. So I want to ask it. The question posed is, what are Bill's thoughts on mayo chup?
On what?
Mayo chup. It's a hybrid. Well, it's a mix of ketchup and mayo.
That shit. Yeah, I've seen that in the store. Okay. I'm not a big. So I'm not a. I don't like. I think I mentioned I don't like ketchup, and I'm not crazy about mayo except on one or two things. So mayo chup, not for me. Like
not for you.
No, not. I don't see a damn thing I would put that on. I'm trying to think. Like what's remotely close to mayo chup?
I will tell you what's because I have strong feelings about mayo chup. Okay. Not that I want to eat it. But if you have mayo chup and then you add relish, you've made fucking Thousand Island dressing.
Ah, okay. So you're saying it would be like creamy. It would make a creamy Reuben.
It would make a very creamy Reuben, but you wouldn't get the relish situation. You wouldn't get that.
Right. Yeah. Flavor. No, fuck that. It's nonsense. Yeah. I don't like it.
All right, fair enough. I agree. I don't like it either. That's something we agree on for sure.
I'll tell you two condiments they should mix together: hot sauce and mustard. That should be a goddamn thing. They should mix those two. I would eat that.
Maybe you should start that. Maybe you should start the hot mustard trend.
I should. You're right. I should.
Yeah, should do that. All right. So we have for you all things that are extra. Bill, what do you have for us this week?
Okay, this is also food related, but I was watching TV because so I live way out in the boonies now, and I don't get very good internet, so we had to buy dish TV, which means for the first time in probably 20 years now, I'm seeing commercials again. Aside from YouTube commercials, I mean, which we all see, but those are all insurance related. Skip ads. Yeah, you get to skip those after 5 seconds, but so I have to watch actual ads. I mean, yeah, so I watch them. And the other day I'm watching this commercial, and it's for Burger King's new Impossible Whopper or some shit like that. And they're like high-fiving and patting themselves on the back because they made this non-meat. It tastes like meat. Woo, yeah, okay, yo, it tastes like not, it's like meat, but it's not meat. And I'm like, that's great. So we've solved that problem. Wonderful. Now could you expend the same fucking energy into making not carbs? That's what I want. I want beer. I want pasta. I want bread. I want tortillas. I want all that shit, and I want it to not make me fat. Okay, because that's 90% of my fat intake is from carbs. I want fucking carb-free tater tots. Like, get on that, you food scientists. You've solved the meat problem. Vegans can now eat. Doesn't make any sense to me anyway. Why do vegans they don't like meat? Why do they fucking want to eat something that tastes like meat? Like. It makes no goddamn sense. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, like if I was like to go vegan, and I'm not trying to trash on vegans. Like, you guys like what you like, it's fine. I'm just saying, if I eschew a thing, fuck it. I don't want any part of it. I don't need like a substitute for it. Like, I'm done with it. That's where I'm at. So. But I'm not done with carbs. I'm done with being fat, and I just really would like you food scientist types to stop fucking around with fake meat and start fucking around with fake carbs. Give me some beer. Give me some pasta that does not make me fat. That's my things that are extra for this week.
All right, fair enough. But that said, we're gonna go eat some pizza and drink more beer because
with real carbs.
We can't help ourselves. We're just going to be fat. That's just how this world works. That's literally all it is. All right. So that has been our show for today, our very special edition of Bill Has Opinions live from a random backyard in Asheville, North Carolina. So that is it. Bill, take us away with the engineering notes.
Oh yeah, engineering. This show is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are those of Bill and Bill alone, except for the people who agree with him, and those of Laura are, likewise. Anyway, this show is available on both Facebook format and also on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're on the YouTube, and also leave hateful notes down below. Tell us why we suck, and if you're on Facebook, I don't know what you do. You follow? Is that how you do?
Yeah, like us on Facebook, hate us on YouTube,
There you go.
subscribe on some other stuff. Share us, please share our
Tell
videos.
friends about us. We really would like to have like I'm shooting for like 9 viewers here. Would be great. That would be awesome.
Hey, our top viewers have been 10. We're averaging about 3 to 4, but our top viewership has been 10. So let's aim higher than that. Let's keep going. Let's aim for like 20.
I'd like to see 20 people on here. Tell your friends. You
Tell
know
your
who
friends.
you are. You 10 people know who you are. Tell somebody.
All right, that is it for us. I'm gonna close this out. So thank you everybody for watching. It's been fun.